It's from Friday, but police now arming for war against returning veterans. That is so big, and we sent our reporters to Virginia to try to cover it. Day 2, they got arrested on the base, and their credentials that authorized them to be on it were taken away because it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. The military thought they'd found terrorists. After all, one of them was a veteran, and there's nothing more evil, according to the New World Order. The globalist social engineers are not just targeting us with propaganda. They are manipulating our genetics. We are being targeted at every level by estrogen mimickers that lower our testosterone and other hormones and natural compounds that the body needs. After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic super male vitality formula sourced from powerful organic herbs and then concentrated for maximum potency. Super Male Vitality was developed to activate your body's own natural processes instead of using synthetic chemicals. Super Male Vitality by InfoWars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended dose. For a limited time, we are offering 15% off Super Male Vitality at InfoWarsLife.com to introduce you to this powerful supplement. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today to secure your Super Male Vitality. InfoWarsLife.com.
A chemical spill contaminating the water supply in 9 West Virginia counties.
This year alone, over 300,000 people in West Virginia had their drinking water contaminated.
What are the health effects of having these drugs in our drinking water?
It's forced medical treatment without the consent of residents.
My friends, water filtration is one of the most basic actions you can take to protect you and your family from the harmful toxins and heavy metals in your tap water.
On average, the county says it sprays with the glyphosate at least once a week.
Few filters cut out the glyphosate that is found in water supplies worldwide. Remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, hydrofluorosilicic acid, sodium hexafluorosilicate.
Fluoride, it is in tea, it's in coffee, it's in water, it's in bread, it's in toothpaste.
It is our responsibility to protect our families. The establishment's not going to do it. It's time to take action. It's time to filter our water. Visit InfoWarsStore.com and use promo code WATER to get 10% off their entire family of incredible products. Or call toll-free 888-253-3139. This is Alex Jones for InfoWarsLife.com. The latest in preparedness is now here. An electrically stabilized colloidal silver solution that can be added to both your home cabinet and preparedness pack alike. Concentrated to 30 parts per million in what has been dubbed the Survival Silver Solution. The new InfoWars Life Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver is the answer for you and your family. And it's entirely free of toxic artificial additives that are loaded into many products. The InfoWars Life Silver Bullet Silver is so powerful that it is concentrated into a 2-ounce bottle and is not recommended for extended continual use. This is not a low-grade formula. We are working with one of the top laboratory manufacturers in the United States to bring you the best form of colloidal silver using electrical processes within a base of deionized water for your preparedness storage or your home kitchen. Purchase your bottle of InfoWarsLife.com Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver today and find other amazing supplements at InfoWarsLife.com. Why does the United States spend the largest percentage of GDP in the world on healthcare? Why do we have the highest cancer rates on the planet, the highest rates of diabetes, autism, and every other major disease? It all comes down to one thing. We are what we eat. Our food is devoid of nutrition and processed with poisons and additives. Our water is filled with toxic poisons and big pharma runoff. All of this has been engineered by design. We can turn the tide against the eugenicist by giving ourselves the nutrients our body desperately needs. To learn more, visit InfoWarsHealth.com. The site is literally packed with audio and video featuring top health professionals who don't bow down to big pharma. The fight against the New World Order starts with you, and you can't stand against the machine if you're sick, tired, and obese. When you visit InfoWarsHealth.com, be sure and check out the catalog with nearly 400 life-changing products and get free shipping when you sign up for AutoShip.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
You are either with the Republic or against it. Resistance to tyrants is obedience to God. It's Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this original Sunday broadcast. We're here every Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, I talked about this in the last segment and gave you some of the background about the leaked document reveals Marine Corps training center to take on the American people. In some of these documents that are listed, it talks about taking on Americans against socialism, Americans against a new world order. They're training to take on the Tea Party gun owners. That's in Forbes magazine. I mean, that's all over the news. But they don't want reporters to go cover this. And our reporters were there last Wednesday and Thursday, David Knight and Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs. They did a great job. How big is Fort A.P. Hill?
Oh, it's very spread out. Like you said, it's about a 10, 15-minute drive to get back from the front gate to the asymmetric warfare group. And so, you know, we'd never had any problems at the front gate. I mean, we expected that we were going to have problems once we got in. So once we were arrested, I tried to start the Ustream, but unfortunately, we just didn't have the bandwidth to really get Ustream up. I like Ustream because... Oh,
you did a great job. I mean, obviously, you're out there with, you know, a technology that's not 100%, but expanding on that, they had even given you a slip of paper that time again that you could be in there, but later when they came and arrested you, they took that away.
Yeah, as soon as I pulled up, the MP ripped it from my hands, asked me to pull over, told me to turn the car off, and then he took the keys from me and walked off, and they threw that piece of paper away. And that was kind of like my proof that I had gone through all the protocol to sign myself in on base and David as well.
Now, David's done amazing research over the weekend, pulling up different Pentagon briefings about this base to prove what it's really for. I mean, it's already on record, but they're trying to hide that. And we're going to start getting to that in a few minutes. But first off, Staff Sergeant Biggs, David Knight, you got in the day before, openly shot video of the stuff that nobody else had gotten, the churches, the model of the U.S., the subway system, bottom line, combat veteran, you name it. What is this facility for, Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs?
Well, the main thing that echoes in my mind every time in the military, it's a long-standing saying, you train how you fight. You know, I don't train to fight to go to Iraq in a jungle. So with that being said, this center looks like America, so what they're saying is their directive is we're training how we fight. This is where the next fight's going to be. And the asymmetric warfare colonel even says we're preparing for what's next. Well, what is what's next? You know, what does that mean? So that's the scary thing.
Before Vietnam, they trained for jungle. Before the desert wars, they trained for that. Now they train for us.
Yeah.
What about the facilities that you and David Knight found? We have high-def video now up on Infowars.com with, like, boxes to put people in, torture tables. You said you delivered people to things like that in Afghanistan.
Yeah, we had stuff, you know, set up in Afghanistan. And this facility, that area, that was one of the unknown buildings that were marked on that map. So it was right beside the madrasa or the school, whatever you'd want to call it, whatever they're classifying that as. But that room had, you know, tables set up with chairs. The one had, like, a medical exam table. And then also it had a panel that went underground. So that could have been like some kind of holding, you know, hot box area where they want to keep someone until they get some information.
And you said that looks just like Afghanistan.
Well, those little areas, yeah, the way that was set up, exactly.
But the issue is the rest of it's like America Baptist, you know, churches and stuff. This looked like a torture facility to you.
I don't know if that's exactly per se what they're using it for there, but they were training. They definitely do some kind of training in there for that, I'm assuming. I mean, it looked like that to me to the T.
Briefly, you said you've delivered people in and heard the screams.
Yeah, we've had to. I mean, we've had to escort some people back to our compounds and then let these other government agency guys take over and take them in there. And then David, your observations while you were there.
Well, you know, Alex, Madison said, if oppression and tyranny ever come to this land, it will be in the guise of fighting a foreign enemy. Everything in that town is small-town America, except for the mosque. That's a beard. In my opinion, that's what that is.
For those that know what a beard is, it's like gay guys in Hollywood have a fake wife.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's
like Michelle Obama. I mean,
that's their fake wife, okay? So, and the thing is, just back in the end of March, if you remember, there was that press conference where they had the guy from Europe, and he's talking to Putin, and he's saying that the NATO missiles that are pointed at Russia, he said that's really against Iran and not Russia. And remember, Putin started laughing at him, you know, hysterically. If we had Saddam Hussein, for example, training with airplanes, with commercial airplane hulks, you know, had guys training to take them over, what would we think? Do we think that he's training to take over airplanes and attack America as a terrorist? What if Russia had an American city down to every detail.
We would freak out.
Training, yeah, or China, and they were running through there. We would think, wow, this is a prelude to invasion. Why isn't it a prelude to invasion when our own military is doing it, and when they do it over and over again in all these cities, from L.A. to Chicago?
To condition people.
Exactly. Exactly. So they're doing it even more. And on Friday, we had the story from Mikhail Thalen about the Marines doing the same thing. This time, there is no mosque in Camp Lejeune. There's a Christian church, and there's farm buildings that they've added to make it more American. And that's what we saw there. We stood at the corner of 1st and Main Street, and I took Joe Biggs' picture as the security guard who let us in was driving by and watching us. I'm taking his picture there at the corner of 1st and Main with newspaper stands in the background and phone booths and all the kind of stuff that you would typically see.
And we've got the HD video that you guys got posted right now on this Sunday edition at Infowars.com. And we've got this segment and 2 more coming up to break down what happened to you, but also overall what this means, because we have the articles in Forbes, you name it, training to crush the Tea Party, the military's new mission. I mean, this should be the biggest debate in the country right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing to see this going on. And, of course, they don't want to talk to anybody about this. If they would talk to people about it, and I want to give her the opportunity to make your best case that this really isn't against the American people. I mean, we've seen it over and over again. We see.
And, by the way, we called for 3-4 months since February to try to talk, sent letters, everything, trying to go as real media and investigate this. And finally, you guys get arrested for 3 hours for going to do it because you're the enemy. I mean, they've been training to fight veterans. Returning veterans is the #1 enemy they train to fight. So, Joe, you're the enemy showing up.
Well, Asymmetric Warfare Group put out a document saying that any soldiers that don't support Agenda 21 are considered to be extremists, and, you know, points to look at for in a soldier, like patterns and behavior, buying weapons and distancing themselves from the brass, the top brass, is considered an extremist movement and to be watched and flagged.
Is this not just a collaborator globalist movement that sees control of the whole infrastructure and is now saying anybody that doesn't accept the takeover, Tea Party, evangelical Christians, libertarians, we're terrorists? That right there tells us, David, this is an occupied government.
Well, when you watch this conference that they had 8 years ago, everything that the Center for Asymmetric Warfare is about is, of course, warfare. It's warfare against what they call insurgents, which would be people who are rebelling against what they want to do. And they're saying that this is not religiously motivated. It's motivated by people who see their resources being taken away, who are being dominated, who have no self-determination, who've had their dignity taken away.
Slaves.
Exactly. And so what do we see in America? We see them coming in and taking our dignity away. They're taking our private property away. And they understand that this is politically motivated. They understand that people will rise up in rebellion when they see that happen if that can't be stopped. And so instead of correcting the problem, they're doubling down to fight us. And that's what the insurgency is about.
We ought to pull up that Weatherman clip that came out in testimony in federal court where they said they're going to put 50 million of us in camps and kill 25 million. David Knight, Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs are our guests. We got 2 more segments in this first hour coming up. And then we're going to have the entire second hour covering the waterfront from the federal government moving to release violent felon illegal aliens on the streets of America. From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. The globalists have controlled the mainstream media for a long time, but now they're expanding and making the weaponization even more vicious and deceptive. All the major networks are state-run.
We are partnering this year with the NFL.
The NFL has become a political weapon against the Second Amendment and pushes Obamacare. MSNBC tells us that our children belong to the state.
We have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities.
It is more important than ever to realize that we are not the alternative media. We are the true media. The establishment